Well, does the new Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana inspire confidence? Is this a good move for South Africa's economy and investment in the country? To discuss, we're joined by Sipho Pityana, President of Business Unity South Africa. Mr. Pityana, thank you for joining us. Enoch Godongwana is described as being investor-friendly, business-friendly. Is that a fair assessment, or is it more nuanced?
Well, I think it's a lot more nuanced than that. Enoch has impeccable struggle credentials. He cut his teeth in the trade union movement. He's very passionate about the cause of the poor and indeed the creation of a labor market environment that is labor absorptive. So he would be keen to ensure that there is an inclusive economic development agenda which would ensure growth of job opportunities and inclusive participation of the marginalized in the economy. And of course, in the context of that, he will be focused on ensuring that the economy grows. And to do that, you have to ensure that you are able to attract jobs, to attract investments, and that the regulatory framework in the system is enabling of an economy to grow. So he's quite pragmatic. He's very steeped amongst social partners, and he understands where the different constituencies come from. And he will employ his pragmatic approach to great effect.
I think he represents, to many people, some continuity after Tito Mboweni in terms of that investor approach. But as you've alluded to, he has better relationships with the SACP, with COSATU, with Labour in general. Will that be good for South Africa?
Well, I think it would be good because, and that's where the continuity and discontinuity marks the changes that have happened here. It is important that you have somebody who is known and is steeped in the traditions of the trade union movement. After all, we are social partners all about creating a South Africa that is in the benefit and interest of all. Enoch, when he walks into any boardroom, is able to take a corporate language, and is also able to talk a shop steward language when he's amongst workers. He understands those environments, and that's exactly what he wants. But he also is in a fortunate position in this instance, in that he has a partner in the new minister about whom less is said, and that's Minister Mondli Gungubele, who I think is an inspired appointment as a minister in the presidency, which will be responsible for coordination of policy. And between the two of them, they have a very good understanding of the relationship between the primary role that Gungubele would play there in developing the integrated strategic framework of government, which should inform the budgeting process, which will enable the coordination of all the activities of government to ensure alignment in the delivery of programs. So it's a very encouraging shift that has happened there.
Well, what about the fact that Pravin Gordhan remains and public enterprises reportedly at odds with Treasury, reportedly over SAA? I think him and Tito Mboweni had very different views of how you deal with the national airline. What about the fact that he remains?
Well, these are not personality issues. Pravin Gordhan has played a very important role. We know how great a role he has played in pushing back the boundaries of state capture. And ironically, he's thrust in a role where he has to mop up the mess of state capture that has ravaged all of these institutions. And in doing that, he can't just take a cold view of whether to close or to sell or to bring strategic partners. He also has to take into consideration the capacity of the fiscus to move with some of these. A very difficult environment. In the same way that I think the president was quite appropriate in pouring praises of Minister Tito Mboweni, because somebody I heard earlier on saying that he was the most conflictual minister or something like that. He actually took that role at a time when difficult decisions had to be taken, and he took them. And of course, we're now in a better place in terms of the general direction of things. There's a structural reform program that has been adopted, and I doubt that Minister Godongwana would think differently, and there would be there is a much greater prospect of alignment between public enterprises, ministry in the presidency, Minister of Finance, and all of those in driving government's agenda.
Mr. Pityana, in about 30 seconds, should we be worried about Minister Godongwana's past?
Well, I certainly sleep peacefully at night because, firstly, if you've had something that you're accused of in 2012 and the police have not arrested you and you've not been prosecuted successfully, etc., so society must take a view that justice delayed is justice denied. So his innocence must be presumed because he took a very important step in stepping down at the time these allegations surfaced, faced the law, didn't run away, and made himself accountable. And that's exemplary. And secondly, the recent allegations around his role at the Development Bank of Southern Africa were surfaced, they were debated in Parliament. And indeed, we've seen in the recent period, by the way, how indiscriminate and principled the president has been in allowing the SIU to investigate whatever allegations emerge. And of course, one assumes that if there's any substance to those allegations, the president would not have made this move. And indeed, the SIU would knock at his door and say, we have to investigate what has happened here. So we should take comfort from that.
All right. Thank you very much for your time tonight. Sipho Pityana, President of Business Unity South Africa.